We're working on what, week 3 or 4 of this mask? I think 4 weeks of this mask so far. I did work on it a little bit off stream this week. So you could see a little bit of a different texture than you would have seen at the end of last stream. I'm ecstatic with this mask personally. I'm really loving how it's coming together. I am, yeah, just super happy with how a lot of this is developing. You can kind of get, I mean, you get a sense from where it, for where it is going. And yeah, it is developing rapidly. I've kept the tape off of the eyes today because I assume I'm probably going to end back up there today. Although mostly just for little fixes here and there. There was a couple of places you might be able to see it right, where was it? Right in here, where I kind of smushed the paint layer. So I'm gonna bridge that gap that's been made because I couldn't do that while it was wet. And yeah, I think we're close to finished with the top half of the mask up. I'm gonna probably go back into the edges of these eyebrow ridges. I want them to be very defined. But yeah, most of the stuff I'm doing towards the top, I'm probably gonna try and save for after because I very much want to work on some of this well, bottom half of the mask really. Although the nose is still something I'm gonna probably work on as well today. There's a lot of pieces in motion. And yeah, it's kind of just I'm letting it come together very naturally, because yeah, I don't want to I don't want to prejudge what I'm trying to do and get distracted from my inspiration essentially. You know, I want this to be um, coming from a place of kind of exploration and curiosity. I think I've talked a lot about how that's kind of a big part of working with masks is being able to kind of explore yourself and explore identity and things like that while working on it. And I wanted that to be kind of a process that I wasn't controlling too much, as I tend to, once I start trying to control something, I tend to get a lot more frustrated. Uh, and that's not what I want to make art for. I don't want to make art and get frustrated at it. I want to make art and see myself in it. I want to explore all of the different parts of who I am. Cause yeah, I mean that's what separates us from the AI robots. Absolutely giving all artists the worst time right now. Shouts out to all my comrades in art. Uh, this is a dark time for us, my friends. But we will get through it together, as we have over and over again. Machines don't need to eat, and we do. So we fight on. Mixing up paint, mixing up paint. Kind of have a palette that I'm really happy with, so I'm trying to just stick close to that color. Shade, I guess, is a better way to put that. Kind of have a method for getting it just the way I want it. Yeah, that's a lot of what I've been kind of thinking about over this last week. I think it's very frustrating to see the proliferation of all of this AI art um, right during the holiday season, where artists like myself, many others, tend to get a lot of their commissions, a lot of, and in some cases, a good chunk of their uh, yearly income from this season. So it is particularly aggravating to see all of it proliferating so rapidly, growing and evolving so quickly, right during a crucial time of the year for us. I mean, if you're listening and you're an artist, uh, feel free to get in my DMs. Let's work together. Yeah, and if you're unfamiliar with how this stuff works, it's even more concerning when you realize that they're using our labor for their profit without compensating us or even crediting us. Stable diffusion is uh, a type of theft that, because it has not been regulated in any way as of yet, we are dealing with the repercussions as laborers. Yes, art is labor, and if you don't think so, you can eat my shorts, because that is what I do. There are very few types of labor that I think anyone has any kind of right to call into question its validity. And art is a necessary product for humans. And under ideal circumstances, yes, we wouldn't be forced to make a living by selling our art. In an ideal world, many things would be different. But that is not where we live. We live in reality. And seeing a lot of people, even with similar social political leanings as me, kind of justify it by saying these kind of utopian ideals, um, if they were in place, would help us out. I feel it's a little bit of a misdirect, because that's not what's happening. We don't have universal basic income. We do not have socialism. And so when you take away work from laborers and replace it with a machine who does not need to eat or pay bills, you are harming the laborers. And I'm not here to judge any one individual person for their choice to use Lensa or any of the other AI apps that are stealing from us, not compensating us, artists. My point is to shame these companies, shame our political representatives into doing something for us to make these changes, so that we don't have to, so that we can start seeing some of the potential being put into action with what is capable with AI art. Because I think there is something there. There is something creative that could be made. I think there are plenty of ways that you can use it in very cool and interesting and, yes, creative ways. No. I sorry, where was I? Um, I'm very passionate about this. I'm very passionate about this. Yeah, I mean, welcome to the stream. I apologize if I'm throwing too much at you so early, but this is just all I've been thinking about for the last few days because it is. I mean, I can see it already directly impacting people like me, who are struggling, who need to make these commissions during this time of the year so that they are uh, uh, not facing desperate times. And it seems like there is a certain lack of understanding by a lot of people using these apps. I think that there is a certain uh, gap in information. Uh, this stuff is all so new, and I don't want anyone to, like I said, I don't want any individual to feel bad for their choice to use it. I think what it's doing is interesting, especially from a point of view of most people who uh, don't themselves make art or at least make paintings, portraits, things like that. Um, I think I think those are valid reasons to have used it, and I'm not sitting here judging people like that. And in fact, I know a handful of artists who do some really interesting creative things with it. Shouts out to Barrick Hardley. You can find Barrick over on TikTok or on Instagram. Shout out to our good friend and previous collaborator, Ezreal. You can find at Juxtaposition on TikTok and on Instagram. Uh, both do really beautiful work and something uniquely creative the with AI. I think those are worth talking about and praising for the good that they do. Um, Barrick did animated short almost in every with almost every element of it controlled by AI. The writing, the animations, the character and background designs. So much of I think even a lot of the camera movements and stuff like that, all dictated by AI. I think there's something really interesting about this. Definitely go check out the short. You can find it on his TikTok, and I think probably on his Instagram and probably his Twitter too. Uh, but yeah, I also feel like there is a certain responsibility we should all have, a certain awareness we should all have towards artists in their role in all of this. People who um, do portraits, do backgrounds, things like that. Uh, and a certain amount of willingness to be sensitive to our concerns from an outside perspective, a certain um, respect for our craft. It's it's not as easy for me to throw in a handful of keywords in an image and in uh, 5 to 100 minutes come out with a handful of beautiful portraits of a person. It takes time and dedication and years of practice to have gotten to the point where artists get to, where they're able to do commissions like that. It's demoralizing to see these works that are inarguably aesthetically pleasing. Uh, but how much are we willing to pay? And no, I'm not talking about the $8 a month it takes to pay for Lensa. I'm talking about the cost of discounting uh, the labor, the real life labor of people who uh, have dedicated their lives to art. In many cases, at their detriment. Um, uh, it's incredibly difficult and frightening to decide that that is what you are going to do. Society doesn't necessarily make it easy for you. Um, you have to fight and and not just in the way that you have to fight for the work that you want, which you absolutely do. You not just in the way that you have to fight against people on the who are essentially clients and producers and things like that who want to get certain things out of you that you're not necessarily uh, capable of or interested in as like an artist, and to try and make things more like consumable, I guess. Uh, it's it's uh it's something that is it's stories we've heard over and over and over again throughout history, as far as like artists being patronized by a person who then tells them to change everything about what they are doing uh, to fit a mold that was never made for them. Uh, so it's so many different aspects of being an artist are frightening and intimidating and scary. With this added stressor, it especially during the holidays when so many of us are making a lot of our money for the year, it's I feel like almost pointed at us. I was talking to my cousin who is a really fantastic human being, a really talented writer who's aware of these AI writing apps as well. And while currently they aren't necessarily, they're not writing Shakespeare or anything like that, but when you look at how fast AI drawing and art has come in the last year, it is kind of terrifying to think about how soon we'll start seeing AI books on bestseller lists. Uh, and it feels like a declaration of war on the capitalist class, on artists, and on working class people, which takes so many different forms over and over and over again in our society. And this is just, it feels very pointed. Uh, yeah. Um, when made such a bold decision, you do have to live with those consequences. But these are not, this is unprecedented. We're used to artists stealing our work. This is a common thing on social media where often people will take other artists' work and minorly change a handful of things. And because the process, even as it stands, of getting those works even just taken off of social media, let alone any legal processes you could go through, it's a chore. It's a whole new job suddenly, and it can take away from people's incomes who don't necessarily uh, expect that sudden loss in income because somebody is taking their work and unethically claiming it as their own. Uh, it's one of the many realities that we already face, but this is something entirely different. This isn't an individual taking something. This is a company, a corporation, taking things from uh, hundreds, thousands of us all at once. Um, and yeah, I think I would like to have a society that I would like to hope that we're ready to listen to artists about our labor concerns and things like that. With the last year of all of the really intense things happening to the industry of film, of art, of music, it's got to be. I mean, I personally can tell you, it is disheartening. It is straight up depressing. It scares me that to think that so many of my comrades might be struggling even more than we already were a year from now, less maybe. Now we're struggling now. So if I could do anything today, it is to implore you to please listen to artists' labor concerns. to please look into Stable Diffusion, look into how AI compiles images, look into how it stores and collects your data. Um, there's so many different avenues where this is terrifying and should be more concerning for us. Um, I value my privacy. Let me just put it that way. Ended up a little brighter today than normal. The paint, kind of see it, but that's fine. Yeah. I hope you're having a good Tuesday. Hope I'm not killing your buzz, dude. This is just something I've been thinking about nonstop for days, and I'm just had to get it off my chest, especially on the art stream that I do. It's place where I get to do exactly this, kind of vent my frustrations. The process of making this piece is certainly the process of me making any art piece is a certain amount of venting. Uh, my frustrations at situations, at the world, at treatment. My first big. I mean, I've been acting since I was a little kid. I've talked a lot about this. Um, but when I started drawing, it was during a really difficult time in high school. I mean, I doodled, of course. I had friends who drew, very talented at it. Um, long before this, but in high school is when I started expressing myself that way, through art, through visual mediums, and it was really important to me to have that outlet. I desperately needed it, and between drawing and the written word, um, my ability to express myself better, and work through a lot of these really difficult feelings I was going through dealing with, uh, was more accessible to me, because I always will recommend therapy, but that wasn't necessarily an option for me, um, unfortunately. And I think even through therapy, I mean, every therapist, maybe, I, I don't think there's many therapists who are going to tell you not to do art or try and express yourself. I think that's part of the process of healing. I think it's you can't uh, you can have one without the other, but I think most people would agree with me that having an outlet like that is can be a really beneficial part of you. Well, I can. There we go. Okay. sorry if you got timed out and you're not a robot. Uh, I too am long-winded and use lots of words, even on Twitch chat. So try again in a couple of different messages if it wasn't a robot. But if you're a robot, it would be funny if it was a bot because I'm talking shit about AI. They were gonna. This is funny. Just have my imagination is running like robot was trying to get me into a debate today. It ain't gonna happen. I don't debate. I tell you how I feel, and I am in my own little world over here working on this mask. I have Sam, my producer, in my ear telling me what y'all are saying in the chat. Help me stay up with what y'all are talking about. So feel free to say hi. Message will be relayed, even if I'm not looking at chat myself. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you should know I'm not a debater. I will not be nice. I mean, I'll be nice. I'm a pretty nice person generally, but we've confirmed it was a robot chat. Are in chat for robot? No, but it is really interesting. I've been fascinated with AI and robots and things like that for a really long time. It's why I mean, it's worth pointing out that it's not really artificial intelligence. It's not artificial or computer learning. This is something entirely different. I think we have such a want, desire socially to be in the Jetsons future, kind of that we've been introduced to so much through pop culture, that that sometimes we forget that uh, yeah, these things aren't necessarily within our reach, despite how they're trying to sell them to us as products. I think Sophia, I believe, is the name of the robot. I think developed in Sweden and eventually was bought by the. Who was it? Was it? Anyway, it's Sophia's traded hands a few times, but Sophia was kind of like brought up as one of the talking robots that can have a full conversation with you. Um, this, of course, was an exaggeration of the truth. Sophia wasn't having a conversation with you and able to understand. There was a certain amount of voice activated commands and things like that this uh, that this thing would be able to respond to. But because can't remember which government made Sophia an actual citizen of their country, it made me think that we were very close to some of the first lawsuits around who is responsible for the actions of these robots. Um, in I had a oh, thank you for joining, Evie. Appreciate you stopping by. We were just talking about robots and stuff and how I would love to leave some of the marketing that goes along with some of these robots, but unfortunately, it is many cases propped up. So we were talking about Sophia the robot and how eventually she got citizenship. I can't remember where, but so it made me think of what would happen if something like I thought of this fictional story where a robot like Sophia eventually by mishandling or accident um, becomes untethered from the people that the handlers essentially, and something uh, happens. Maybe I think the scenario I imagined was they get hit by a car or something in the street. Um, how would that how would that trial look? What would the charges be? Would it be as Sophia is a citizen? Would it be a case of like maybe not homicide or manslaughter or vehicular manslaughter even, but something like that damages a legal battle that usually would take place after someone has incurred a personal injury? Or would that trial be more like a liability issue on the part of the company that owned Sophia? Would it be a trial perhaps about the property damages that were done to the company by Sophia being hit by a vehicle, something like that? And I just think like we're not too far off from those kinds of things from happening. It reminded me a friend of mine. I was telling them about this story, and they told me about the I think it's called "What Makes a Man" or uh, something like that. It's a Star Trek episode from I think Next Gen where Spock, not Spock, Data is on trial, and they're trying to determine what Data is sentience. Yeah, are you on mic? Okay. So Eevee could be a goblin, or perhaps just an Eevee, a Pokemon. If you're a Pokemon, who's your who's your other? If you're Eevee, what's your next evolution? What are you shooting for? Flareon, Jolteon. I don't know any of the other ones. Sorry. Vaporeon, thank you. Yeah. Um, but yeah, no, thanks for chatting and thanks for for coming in. Yeah. Right. The Star Trek episode. Yes. Yeah. Data was on trial. Very similar kind of stakes. Trying to determine his sentience. Whether Data was a person essentially, because personhood is a very interesting kind of philosophical uh, topic, thought experiment. It's almost, well, absolutely related. It is almost separate from sentient. Uh, I feel like you could say, for instance, like gorillas in captivity. Um, I think is a really interesting example of this because while they are, you could argue absolutely that they are sentient. Could you argue that they are allowed personhood? By giving them names, by teaching them to speak sign language, are you assigning them with personhood, or are you, or, or what? Really? I think it's obviously has obvious many differences, but some similarities, as the question about uh, who is will robots, especially future versions of them, that because like I was saying, Sophia, she wasn't she's not sentient. She is a conversational kind of like algorithm. Uh, um, but once they become measure of a man. Okay. Yeah, yeah, water type for sure. But yeah, that episode is called Measure of a Man. We love Trek in here. Although I'll admit I am not as not like a super fan. I don't have all the details. And in fact, I think the only Star Trek I've watched all the way through is the original series, which I know it's sussy, but I'm not like that. I just I haven't gotten. There's so much. There's so much, and there's also anime. I mean, there's so much that we have a lot of media to consume and on this planet right now. I'm not going to be trying to run around and consume every last little morsel of it. That's for sure. Just too much other stuff. Too much stuff I want to make. See, I've a lot of my good Trekkie buddies are big Deep Space Nine heads. Um, yeah, there's just a few little like spiny parts that I want to smooth out on this ridge here. Um, I know that I said I wasn't going to work on the top half of the head, but I'm doing it. Nothing you can do to stop it. Make you pay. I might stop then. This, I think I want it to thicken up before I keep going at this, actually. The paint usually gives me a little bit more play when it's less wet. I'm actually going to remove some of that, fill some of the gaps down at the bottom half of the head where I'm already started to work. This just not quite the consistency I need it to be to make that work right now. But got a little bit of coverage, which I'm glad we did. Nose. Let's do some nose, huh? Let's do some nose. So I was thinking last week, or in the last few days, essentially, since I've been off stream, is that I want this sharp, kind of squared off ridge I've got here um, to. I almost want it to come out and almost be more, uh, yeah, prominent. Maybe even going over the center, but maybe actually I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing with it, is what I'm trying to say here. But I have ideas and I'm excited about doing it. So I am, yeah, doing nose. I hadn't even thought about it. I would never try and avoid saying that, just so everyone knows. I am a nasty freak, and I invite everyone else to be one with me. It is nothing shameful in it. Yeah, buy my worn shirts, you nasty freaks. This is for sale. This shirt that I'm wearing. You can buy it. I'm not gonna wash it. So you get all that broke artist smell. The broke artist smell is the essence of art. Yes, absolutely. So yes, as long as it's not violating TOS, be a nasty freak. Other than that, baby, you good. We're all nasty freaks here. I want a different palette knife. Oh god, the sun's going to. I'm gonna turn on the other light before it gets any later. I hate cold. I want to live on the equator. Recommendations for places for me to move on to the at the equator that are dope, fun places with artsy communities. Go. Not that I don't love LA. I really do love it here, and kind of have like really started feeling at home here. God damn it. Even LA is too cold for me. Me either. But yeah, I was talking a lot about AI art earlier in the program. I just want to, because I meant to say at the time that my commissions are open, my partners' commissions are open. Mean an absolute fuck ton to us if you wanted to commission some portraits instead of paying the low price of $8 for stolen art. Um, you know, as I said, I'm not going to shame you for doing it, but artists, the thing is artists are people who need to eat food to survive and pay bills to live. We don't have like any kind of way of living without that. So robots, machines, they don't need your money. Corporations don't need your money either. I do. So please commission a portrait. Yeah, commission me for portraits, for your pets, for your partners. I do that's right. NSFW art. If that's something that you want to do, I actually think like kind of a boudoir kind of portrait for your partner is a really lovely gift. We all, like I said, are nasty freaks, and I am more than happy to help you uh, ignite a holiday fire, if you know what I mean. Um, oh, I love furries. I've been to I can't remember what it's called, but it was the Fur Con in San Jose. I was like probably like 20 and maybe like 22. Definitely not like aware of what that community is, what it represents, and gotta tell you, aside from a handful of really not great people, the furry community is amazing. Very progressive, very cool folks, and I'm certainly not going to judge them for thinking Lola Bunny is hot. I think Lola Bunny is hot. I might be a furry, and I'm okay with that. Um, yeah, I think furries are fucking rad, and I would be more than happy to draw you as a wolf or a. I actually did a wolf recently for a comrade of mine. I did. I can do fantasy creatures. I can do. Uh, characters from your DVD game or D&D games. I'm very happy to do landscapes as well, mostly digital. I don't really want to do landscapes, physical paint ever again that aren't absolute just nonsense. tell you what, I have one right here. I can show you what I mean by absolute nonsense. Oh wait, there's one right here. Um, so like I'm okay with doing portrait or landscape art that is surreal and psychedelic and has weird colors and doesn't make like nature art sense. That's what I'm interested in doing physically. If you are looking for landscapes, I'm doing like psychedelic ones. I'm not trying to do traditional. I'm not a traditional painter. If you could not tell, I am not a traditional painter. Um, so yeah, I do so much different kinds of art. I'm even happy to do fan art if like there's a franchise that you really love. I'm happy to turn you into characters from your favorite franchise. I uh, I work relatively cheaply because a lot of what I do is digital, so I'm just making you mostly just pay labor hours. And I can most of the time do reductions on that, especially during a time when I'm actually busy. But right now I'm not busy, so you might be hard pressed to negotiate me down from my normal rates at the moment. But if a lot of you wanted to get some art, collective action works. So I don't know. Keep that in mind, Buckaroony. Um, but yeah, I really would appreciate the work. AI art is killing us, um, and yeah, I'm not going down without a fight. So help me fight. Help me and my comrades survive. We deserve to. And if in a perfect world, this wouldn't be. I wouldn't be nearly as dramatic because we would be taken care of. We would have systems in place to help people like me. But as it stands, we don't. Artists are continually more and more every day being seen as kind of just disposable. Seeing some of these arguments, even by close friends of mine, about I was vague at that artists should stop complaining and stop being such whiny, stop being so whiny about this stuff. I was in shock. And I've seen similar reactions from people who are in a similar position, who are freelancers and can really understand how not even asking the rates of artists that um, can affect their their lives. Instead of instead of going to some app that don't give a shit about you, come to me. I will make you basically whatever you want. Superheroes, that's another one I love doing, is giving you uh, superpowers, making like ethereal beings of light. I just like people. I like their faces. I like doing portraits. I mean, that's the thing is us at Nerdcrafty, we're all artists of different styles. Definitely go to nerdcrafty.com and check out everyone's work. I definitely want to support my comrades here, as well as myself. Zach and Sam are both artists and both have their own individual styles that I think are really lovely, and they do great work with it. So, um, yeah, go to nerdcrafty.com, check out all of everyone's stuff there. Kind of our literal homepage. You can get directed to everyone's work here at Nerdcrafty. this down. You might actually get a good look at it while I'm working for once. Oh, fine. I fucked up a little thing, but it's just a little thing. Some of the stuff I laid down at the beginning of the program are already ready to mold, so I'd be diving into a little bit of that in a second. But I'm busy. I'm in the middle of a nose. I'm in the middle of a nose. I can't jump into that. I'm so easily distracted. It's hilarious. Yeah. Yeah, my guys, I'm sculpting paint right now. Can you just appreciate for a moment that this is not, by any stretch of the imagination, very easy. I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but Jesus. I mean, basically what luckily, I get to kind of just let it hang out once I get it kind of generally where I want it, but I know if I don't close up some of the big creases, they're going to cause problems later. Either drying issues or issues with having to go and refill places after already putting a lot of time and effort into those areas. It's just yeah, I'll show you what I mean. So you can see in the bottom of this nose, there's all kinds of little like concave and convex places where the paint is has gaps in it or is pointing to a peak. That I can fix once it starts drying, or some of that I can fix once it starts drying. But I have to get all of the biggest, most exaggerated kind of like I guess imperfections is a way to put it, but it's not quite what I mean. You understand. I'm trying to get all of those little real intense areas, peaks or valleys, kind of smoothed into something that when I go back into it later would be more resembling a human's face and texture of skin. Because yeah, like I'm not trying to do obviously I'm not trying to do realistic human portrait or sculpture here, but I am trying to get something that feels. I'm trying to create a horror of your imagination, I guess is a good way to put this, because it's going to have elements of natural skin texture and a shape, but it's going to have kind of a monstrous quality to it as well. Okay. I think I need to go upside down. Wow. Oopsie. Oh, there I go. That's okay. We'll go back there later. Oh man. Smell hit me. Yeah. The smell I've described a handful of times now as gack-like if you're a '90s kid. Um, Definitely reminiscent of that Nickelodeon branded product, which now is more commonly known as slime on the internet. God, what, like a year or so ago. I've always thought of it as like a fishy smell, but yeah. Uh, oh, okay. We're on nostrils now. I do have tape on the inside of the nose so that it isn't going to cause a breathing problem later. That's one of the biggest issues, is not being able to like either the mask getting real steamy inside, temperature rising because it doesn't have a place for the air to release. Yeah, it needs to be comfortable to wear, even if it is, because it does have stick go in, so you don't have to wear it. Just kind of like, you know, it's for eyes wide shut parties. Yeah. Who doesn't want to go to a rich people's orgy? Okay, let's get that stick out of there. Okay. Damn. Isn't it funny how like sometimes you'll be really happy with certain parts of a thing, but really unhappy with other parts of that same thing? It's not funny. I'm kidding. That's the funny part. How? Oh man, I didn't consider how to get these nostrils more like. This is gonna look very flat if I don't figure out a way to get nostrils in here. I think it's time. No, no, I don't want that. Let's try this out. I'm really happy with all these palette knives. Again, Liquitex, sponsor me. I need your money, and you don't need it. So just give it to me. I will tell everyone that I like your stuff. I promise. Because I do, frankly. I do like their stuff. Not formal advertising for them for free. Broke. Can't be doing that. Yeah, hit that Venmo. I am broke. It will help me buy art supplies and pay bills and eat. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a big fan of eating and paying rent and also not running out of the stuff I'm using to make this mask halfway through the process, which that neon green paint is, and my slow dry medium are getting dangerously low. I probably have like 3 sessions left if I keep doing it the way I'm doing it. No, I mean, especially the two I mentioned, there are both like Michael's brand stuff, so they don't cost a ton. They're just like, yeah, I have to get there. That's one of the big problems is we don't have a car, so um, although it looks like there's a I need to there's a what's the word, like a questionnaire, but it's a different word for that, going around Los Angeles about free public transit, which would be fucking amazing and piss off Lyft and Uber, which is I'm a big fan of. Big fan of that. So if you're in the LA area, I think check the transit website and fill out that thing that I can't remember the word for. I think survey's right. Yeah, thank you, Sam. Adding a little paint to where the nostrils would go. So that, because I think I want a little more paint there. I think it's asking me for it. I'm trying to build them out on the thin layers that I had going. Just wasn't working great. But Evie, 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 thank you. Thank you for following. That's our, I think you are our 50th. And that means that we are that much closer to affiliate status, which, as I was saying, we really could use it right now. Any income is great for us, and thank you so much for following the channel, and for sticking around for all this, because I'm on a ramble. I'm on a rant and a ramble, so I'm glad you're liking it, because I don't think you would have followed if you weren't having fun. So yeah. Evie, how'd you find us? Are you in one of the discos that I'm in? Okay, tell me about it. Tell me about it. What's your love for? Are you a big lover of public transit and like kind of like happy to see kind of a little bit of a break coming to so many working class folks who rely on public transit to get to their jobs and things of that nature? You just like love trains and buses, and what's the love with public transit come from? Sorry, I'm putting you on the spot, bud. You all said don't feel pressured to answer. Okay. Interesting gig. I don't want to dox you over here, but loved it. Is that here in the states of America? Okay, yeah. Okay. Thanks for coming. I really appreciate it. You don't go for the drinks, you go for the company. It's kind of like Cheers like that. Comrades Bar and Grill. Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming. It really means a lot. Um, just jamming on this little mask. Boy, I have to. Okay. This nostril duty is really turning out to be quite the chore here. It's always the hardest part of a nose for me to draw too. I really struggle with like with the line work, especially of like getting a nostril just so drives me absolutely batty. So it's super fun. Yeah, I for a long time my characters did the thing where they just had the two like little demon dots instead of a nose because I hated drawing nostrils. I hated drawing noses. Um, so there was a long period of my doodling phase where I just was yeah, that was the default. Oh, we love it. Yes. A noble cause. Yeah, we love a noble cause here. Helping a lot. Okay. So now I've kind of like what I'm saying, what's helping is the kind of like using the bottom of the nose that's already built into this mask to kind of rest my knife on while I go around. You can kind of see I've started this nostril. It's not looking terrible now. I'm very excited about this. This mask has been exciting the entire damn way through it. I'm so excited for it to be get just closer and closer to a finished product. Every little evolution that it makes, I'm just get excited about it. It's uh, you know, thank God it's not. I I just get yeah. I mean, sometimes the like I was talking about doing a lot of portraits. I love doing portraits. I love doing things where people are, especially when I'm able to turn people into like characters they fantasize about being, characters that they've written and they care dearly for. Those things are very fun for me, but they do take a lot of time and effort, especially if I'm trying to do a style that's not necessarily super like my own. The portraits can take quite a long time. Because I like messy, but not all my clients do. So you really have to kind of like make, at the same time, you have to recognize that um, I'm going to be happy because I'm making art. It's a lot better than back when I was working at a job flipping burgers. And recognize that, yeah, I mean, your customer has needs too. Yeah. And I just that's what I want to. I want to make the clients, the customers. I want to make you guys happy. I want you to enjoy and feel empowered by. I also do affirmation art. I've started doing recently, gender affirmation stuff. If that's something that you would be interested in, I'm super happy to help with that. I did one for myself recently, and it's one of my favorite pieces that I've done. It's not technically my greatest, but it was really it was just an idea I had one morning. It was the first thing I worked on that day, and I had some uh, risque photos that I had taken, and I don't know necessarily what exactly it inspired it, but I was just like, yeah, I should. Maybe it was something I was just desiring, like internally, and but yeah, I made the kind of like choice to go in and go hard on it, and yeah, it's like one of my favorite pieces that I've done. It's like a piece that I did for me, which even like eh, you know, strangely, not something I do enough. I guess is what I'm trying to say. Um, Comrade, the toughie. Honestly, a lot of the time for me, it's blind optimism. Uh, I refuse to be a cynic. I lived in that headspace for long enough and uh, existed around people who lived in it that I saw how harmful it can be to your overall long-term health and mentally and physically. Um, and uh, I look at the world for what it is. I'm not saying I'm not a realist, but in moments where I'm having a really hard time, uh, sometimes I just got to tell myself, it's not okay right now, but it can be, and it will be. It will be okay. Um, I'm living in the potential future uh, that is the culmination of all of these goals I've been working towards. And whether or not you've been working towards those goals since last week or 10 years ago is irrelevant. Um, a lot of a lot of the time, I just need to. Uh, I deal pretty. I deal a lot with depression and with anxiety, and I could go on. But I tend to fall into those patterns of not of feeling unwell, of feeling unwanted and unaccepted, and uh, this desire to control everything because things seem so out of control for me. Uh, but I'm uh, not a fatalist, but I know that I'm working towards my goals, and I look back on. I guess that's another good one. Is I look back on where I was, you know, well, like 6, 7, 8. I never started keeping track because it wasn't good for me, but I got sober that many years ago, between 6 and 8 years ago, and it was a huge deal for me. But beyond that, it allowed me to start healing a lot of the traumas and um, healing just the way that I viewed the world, the way that uh, it changed me. It changed my outlook. I try. So what I'm trying to say is, you don't have to be sober. Um, just look back on who you were a few years ago and think about how much things have changed, even if it feels pointless, even if it feels like you haven't. Um, think about like all of the little things, the little changes that you've made that have improved your life, the little progresses, the little victories. Because even if they're not changing your life today, those little victories eventually add up to big change. And I'm not an incrementalist politically, but you got to take your psychological wins where you can get them. As far as I'm concerned, especially for me personally. Uh, and yeah, optimism, remembering where you come from, uh, remembering how far you've come. These things are really important to me personally. Also, like I'm very fortunate to be on Medi-Cal right now because I make no money as an artist because I'm very poor. So I have therapy through Medi-Cal, and it has been really, really beneficial for me. Especially, I've been in therapy for 2 years now, and when I got in it, I was still working through a lot of the. I mean, I still am, but I was still in a very negative place with a lot of the traumas I had gone through as a child, and as such, I was having a hard time connecting with a lot of my family members, people that I do genuinely love, but have had some issues with. We were having trouble communicating through this stuff, and therapy has really helped me work through a lot of that, especially just I'll I'll uh, I'll be honest with you with my mom specifically. I My mom is a great woman who has done a lot of really really amazing things, but growing up was not easy for me. We're very different people, just generally, and uh, especially as a teenager, that manifested in some pretty harmful behaviors. Um, on both of our ends, to be fair, I wasn't necessarily, but my point is that therapy helped me and my mom go from not talking for about a year to like having a relationship that I really value. Me and my mom can communicate now. We can talk through our issues. We can be open and vulnerable with each other, and that wasn't the case 2 years ago at all, at all. So that's been a huge help to me as well. Regular therapy. At this point it's once every 2 weeks, so maybe not even as often as I want, but um, Medi-Cal, you take what you can get, right? Uh, but it has been hugely beneficial for me. I hope that answers your question. Thank you for like your vulnerability there and feeling so uh, comfortable asking. It means a lot to me, truly. Absolutely, comrade. We're all in this together. Um, it's something that it's a service I'm more than happy that I was able to provide for you today, and I'm more than willing to do it in the future. Um, yeah, again, your vulnerability means a lot, and it's very courageous of you to express it in such a public forum. uh, you know, I'm sure that if you're familiar to Twitch, you know this can be a fairly rough public forum. It means a lot that you felt safe with me here. We're getting closer with this nose, friends. I can tell you. I think maybe this is another part of why noses drive me nuts. Is I am not good at symmetry. That's why so much of my art looks like absolute nightmares, because symmetry is one of those things that the human eye is kind of drawn to as what is like aesthetic, what is pleasing, kind of, and that's not me. Uh, but yeah, it is one of those things that I think most artists try and achieve on some level or another. Even symmetry through asymmetry is not an uncommon thing to see in artworks. But in this case, I do want it to be a fairly symmetrical. We're just working that nostril area. We get there. We're gonna end up pretty big nostrils. That's just talked about in episode 1. We love a schnoz. We love a big nose here. And it is shaping up to be exactly that. I mean, look at this crooked, fucked up thing. I mean, my nose. You might not even notice that it's crooked, but I do, because it's like, I don't know. It was a whole long time ago, probably like close to 10 years ago. I was making a film with my friends. It was kind of a parody of war movies. That we were making this movie to put it into another movie, like have it on a screen in one of the scenes, because it was a commentary, blah blah blah. So we were shooting the scene and we're running up this hill, me and a handful of my friends, my partner's siblings, who at the time were young kids. Part of the satire of it, the commentary of it, and I was so concerned with the shot and where the camera was and where all the other actors were located. I didn't notice as I got to the top of the hill that I was running my face straight into barbed wire. So right here, right between the eyes, there's like this small scar that kind of runs up the side of my forehead. I'm very very lucky it didn't take out an eye. It was super close. But yeah, I'll have that scar and the crooked nose to go with it forever as a sign that I am a dedicated ass artist and will do anything to achieve a shot. To myself, I'm not going to hurt you. That's across the line. And as I explained, I didn't do this intentionally. I'm just an idiot. There we go. There we go. Yeah. Yeah. Talking to this thing like it's a cat. Yeah, okay. Hello, baby. Hey, all right. All right. All right. It's time to move on. I've got smooth paint, fairly symmetrical. Use gravity to help me out there. Woo! Okay. Look at that. Look at that nose. Look at that fucking nose. Okay. That pounding, just those few little taps I did, just a light tap, man, that did a lot of work for me. So I'm just trying to push it out during doing that same with that same method. It dropped quite a bit. Oh man, that looks great. Holy shit. I'm gonna tap it a few more times just to get where we want it to get. Yeah. Would you look at that? That looks marvelous. Okay, holy shit. What that? I don't even. You know when you're doing art and suddenly something just happens you don't intend it to happen and it works better than anything you could have done intentionally? That's why I'm not planning this shit. That's why I've said since I started it that I am letting this happen exactly the way it wants to happen. Because sometimes it just ends up with miracles, man. Just absolute oh, you know what was really the game changer with this stuff? Last week after stream, I realized that a little bit of water, I think you guys need to see this. A little bit of water can take even the wet paint, smooth it out without actually pulling any paint away. So this changes everything, frankly. Um, I can take wet to semi-wet paint and still sculpt it even if it's not quite dry enough yet. It's absolutely game changer. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start doing that in those areas I've already gone into while we wait for this nose to kind of dry for us. Because it can't be like wet, wet. I mean, it can be, but I've been when it's really wet, that's when I tend to uh, oh yeah, like if I need to remove stuff or uh, change big sections, that's usually the method. Is just add a little bit of water and you can do a lot, a lot. I did a lot of repair work with water last week while we were off stream, just fixing little things that yeah, like this whole sculpting process of the paint once it's been applied with the palette knives is like its own project in a way, and it is yeah, it was an absolute game changer, just a huge deal once I figured out that it worked like that because I don't know if I'd ever tried it before. So yeah, I was fucking with that for hours after stream last week. Really tough not to hit that nose if I keep going there. Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, that's the thing is it's like going to be fairly rough and textured, but yeah, the finishing process, the drying process, a lot of that is going to help with a lot of the smoothing of it. And as my producer was saying, a lot of the harshness of this very close light, so that I have the visual, because I need to see it is the thing. So if I'm going to keep working on it, so yeah. Do I want to keep going lower on the face at this point, or do I want to move back to? Yeah, let's do some of the repair work that we were planning on doing. We were waiting for this to get a little thicker. It is at least a little bit thicker. Bare minimum, it's a little bit thicker. And yeah, I didn't really mess with oh written storytelling or like like in like or like the act of telling a story with your the oral presentation. Tell us about what stories you've been working on lately. I'm interested. I'm an actor, so storytelling is kind of my bag too. I mean, honestly, I like art. I like doing it because it's an independent thing that I can participate in. But collaborative arts, like acting, filmmaking, that stuff really is my bag. I've been acting since I was a little kid. That was my first love. And oh, I love it. Yeah, hit us with like links if you're comfortable with that. I would love to look at some of that. Sounds really interesting. Are you on Twitch? Like, do you do live streams like here or elsewhere? Yeah, I forgot you could do it like in real life too. I forgot that's another option. I hit the nose. Danger! I hit the nose. Funny if all of the paint just falls off here. Okay, cool. No, actually, that looks even better than it did before. Okay, we're fine. We're good. Ah, well, if you're ever in the Anglese doing some of that, I would love to see it because that sounds like a really cool time. Is it for mixed audience, adults, kids, or what kind of yeah, what kind of stories? Is it something you've been working on? Is there something you've been working on lately? Oh, that sounds dope as hell. What a cool gig. How'd you get into that? Is that like just something that you had a passion for and kind of made your own kind of, I don't want to demean it by calling it a business, but kind of make it your own niche, I guess. That's a good, better way to put it, maybe. Oh, awesome. Oh, that's so cool. Good on you, comrade. That sounds like a really fun time. Glad you've. Oh, what? Talk about a dream. Get yeah, getting to do some getting to do some rad shit at the same time as you're getting to do some art shit. That's my dream. I'd find me one of those gigs. Although I don't think the state would is I don't know. I guess I'm doubtful that people in power would platform ideas that I have. It sounds very dangerous for them. But obviously, that's not always the case. So. True. Oh yeah. Fucking awesome. Yeah, I could imagine they would be pretty dry. Because yeah, I mean, policy tends to be, but yeah, without what you do, it kind of doesn't have that human element that I feel like drives a lot of policy. I think having those together, presenting them at the same time, I think that's fucking awesome. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. All right. Um, well, I was going to say I'm moving on, but actually I'm not. I have to fix these notes. There's still a little bit of finagling I need to do now. Okie dokie. Yeah. Um, I'm pretty down to go late. Audience, should I go? Should I go all the way to 7 tonight, or how long are y'all available for? Because I could work on. I'm probably going to be working on this match till like 9 o'clock tonight, but we don't have to stream all of that. uh, so what's like if you're available to stay till 7, put it in the chat if you think we should end at 5:30 our normal ending time. Say that because we could do either. Right. Thank you for letting me know. I'm glad you did as well. Yeah, and since you have to head out in a few minutes, feel free follow me on any of the social medias. I'm on TikTok at Lava Submersible as well as Instagram. Um, that's my handle at both those places. Uh, you can find links to my Twitter if spicy stuff is what you're looking for, and I'm also on Facebook, I guess, but no one who uses Facebook anymore. I try not to. Facebook does feel really soulless lately. Well, it's interesting because I didn't really realize this until someone pointed it out to me, but the average audience for Twitter leans pretty far to, well, not pretty far, but leans more towards the left, and that is why it's such a useful and sometimes much more pleasant place to be than places like Facebook. Um, Mm. Hmm. I can totally see that. Yeah, that'll happen. I definitely had uh, a fair share of arguments with bad faith debaters on Facebook back in the day. Try not to do any internet arguments anymore because it's just so fundamentally. It's just, I don't want to say pointless because it's a little reductive, but definitely doesn't feel like you're getting much done anywhere. But I have actually in the last couple of days I was talking about a lot about AI art earlier, so I've predominantly because it's been such a big part of what I've been talking about over the last couple of days on social media. Um, it's and that turned into what was? Oh God, I'm sorry. Yeah, that sounds like a nightmare. I didn't even think about it that way. Holy shit. Yeah, I couldn't. I mean, I've done like promotions and stuff because I have to be on like that's like the obligation I feel to Facebook is like, okay, well I have this going on. Like when I was in the Donovan Reed, I had the feature going around. I was trying to do a lot of like hyping it up there, especially because I have been on Facebook the longest and therefore have the most amount of people who follow my stuff there. But it's such a dead zone uh, for me. But having like to do it, like it being an obligation, that sounds very unpleasant. I do not envy you, but yeah, that makes sense now that you say it. After who would voluntarily be on Facebook still? Right? Yeah. Speaking of AI, yeah, that's why I was talking about it so much earlier. Was that it's like so I was talking about like differences between arguing on one platform to another, and ultimately they're irrelevant. I mean, it's kind of pointless either way. But it's interesting kind of noticing the demographics by how different people are talking about it on social media depending on what platform you're using. Uh, for example, like Facebook, it was a lot of, I told you earlier, I had people like begging at some of the things. I mean, maybe they weren't begging at me, but that's the problem with beg booking, especially when it comes to like workers' rights and stuff like that. Where I had close friends of mine like talking about why, asking why artists being so whiny about this stuff when I'm literally like machines don't need to eat. Um, so, but then on Twitter, it was a lot more of me kind of like um, having more, I wouldn't say nuance necessarily, but more productive conversations anyway. Uh, and it's always kind of surprising. Uh, and yeah, I had probably one of the most, uh, like some of the most interaction I've ever had on Twitter about the AI stuff in the last couple of days. That's been interesting. Okay, this is close enough. Let's get some of that water. There we go. There we go. All right. Moving on. I added a bunch of paint to the top of the head earlier. Let's smooth that out. Ooh, touch the wet paint. Oh no. Just a silly goose. Inside my house. Me, the silly goose. It was me. Bon voyage. It was great chatting with you. Thank you so much for stopping by. We'll see you hopefully next time. Thanks for following. Ronnie, how you doing, my friend? Appreciate you stopping by, my brother. I miss you. When are we doing another game of You Awaken in a Strange Place, huh? Maybe once these holidays die down, you got a game in you? Yeah, but my last casting call got no response, so I'm still waiting to hear back from the homies who want to play. I'm available to run a game basically anytime, so uh, fair. Shit, Ronnie, if you want to jump on and chat, you should let Sam know in Disco. I would love to have you chat with me for the next oh geez, it's already 5:30. Well, however long you got. Just let Sam know in the Disco, and we'd love to have you come chat with me. I miss you, man. And if you're listening, Sam's already got the permission set up, so just hop in whenever you'd like. No obligation, no pressure. You don't have to. Probably just got off work or something. I just appreciate you being here, my friend. I miss you. Hopefully, we'll get together soon. Yeah. Hopefully, we'll see you this Sunday. Yeah, we're come hang out on Sunday, everybody listening, because we have stream our first Ironheart stream in months. Oh, sorry, my correction. We're recording a holiday special, not streaming. But yes, keep your eyes out for our return to the Ironhearts and Tomb of Annihilation. I cannot wait. I miss my D&D buddies. We love it. That episode should be out Christmas Day, evidently. Thank you, Sam. Hmm. Man, yeah. I don't know anybody who's listening. If you haven't seen Andor or season 4, the final season of Atlanta, holy shit. Um, like I don't like a lot of things on the television at the moment. There's a lot of issues I have with the way that characters and stories tend to be being written. Talking to my roommates, my partner, my roommate about this right before we started stream. I might have even been talking about it when we started stream. I can't remember. Uh, but yeah, it's I mean, honestly, both of those shows just give me so much hope for the potential for for writing and like actually like great stories that are still uh, waiting to be told. I mean, yeah, Andor was so fucking good, and season 4 of Atlanta. The thing that I think frustrates most audiences about, especially Atlanta. Oh, sorry, Atlanta is that the the focus isn't on a lot of the uh, aesthetic kind of qualities that we see kind of being the major focus of a lot of not just criticism but also the writing of a lot of current media, and they do a really great job in both. In fact, at kind of diverting from that focus on aesthetics and trying to tell nuanced stories about humanity. I mean, I don't want to spoilers, because I'm going to probably be getting into that in a second here. But I thought when I was first watching Andor, I was really thinking that the character they were. Oh, have you not seen the new season? You gotta watch. Atlanta's so fucking good. I'll, yeah. With Andor, the blonde space Nazi, I can't remember her name. The blonde space Nazi character, because I'm so used to the tropes of modern kind of modern storytelling, uh, for big companies like Disney and things like that. I was very prepared for them to have some kind of redemptive qualities to this character, a redemptive arc, maybe even as far as I when I the first couple of episodes that she appears in, I was thinking they were doing she was going to be a double agent. Um, I thought she was kind of being set up for that, but the more the show progresses, the more you realize that we're just being taken through this person's slow, not even that slow, kind of the degradation of their mental faculty. This process uh, uh, of serving authoritarian principles, even against the authoritarian structures desire to do things more uh, passive aggressively, subversively, I guess, in a way. But that kind of you see the empire at that point of almost being kind of a very interesting parallel to a lot of center right Republicans, and those and liberals, some liberals as well, absolutely. And that kind of being it's where we get the phrase saying the quiet part out loud, because a lot of those kind of center right and right leaning people tend to be unwilling to say the quiet part out loud, and that's why the rise in American fascism has been so uh, poignant or potent, I guess, over the last few years. Uh, because of course we've always had it, blah blah blah. But obviously, since the lead up to the Donald Trump election, there was a certain mask offness to a lot of the further leaning uh, the of the well population really, uh, but certainly in politics, while there were still plenty of people who aren't willing to do that in the means of serving their um, trying to get their own often fiscal or economic goals met. Trying to line their pockets is what I'm trying to say. I don't know why I'm being so euphemistic about this. Um, but yeah, and that is kind of how we see the empire being portrayed during Andor as this kind of neoliberal institution that's not quite ready to say we're space fascists, but they are. And it's been clear since, I mean, Phantom Menace. I mean, as early as our Star Wars kind of history goes back, the Empire's, um, just space Nazis. Of course, they're not necessarily modeled after uh, that specific. Um, and in fact, we were talking about this last week in how space Nazis is actually kind of a misleading way to put it because they were space fascists initially modeled after the fascistic ends of imperialism of the United States during uh, the the Vietnam conflict, um, and uh, that being kind of Lucas's. Or were we talking about during the Willow Watch? I think that might have been Willow Watch. I can't remember, but either way, I've been talking a lot about this. Yeah, our latest episode of Willow Watch is something I'm super proud of. It might be some of our best work on Ignore the Bird, Follow the River. Unfortunately, our comrade Zach wasn't able to be there. Always a bummer, but uh, I'm really happy with how we were presenting the information. I um, and Me and Adam definitely got into some really deep discussions about the portrayals of these characters, the betrayals of these characters in some cases. And I think we did some really interesting work. Definitely go check out. I think Sam's probably going to drop a link for you for our Ignore the Bird, Follow the River episodes. They were a podcast, and now they're a YouTube series that we're doing. After the And now that the show's been released, we're going to be reacting to the episodes individually as they come out. And I'm really excited to see where this show goes. I think I said it in the program that I'm bound and determined to love this show, but they are doing my girl Saoirse wrong, and I just can't wait to see how this all works out. And yeah, like I said, I'm bound and determined to love this story, to love these characters. It's something I've been waiting for my whole life. This show to happen. Uh, it I My producer Sam's telling us that it's doing really well, and that's what I want to hear. It makes me happy. It feels validating. I know that I knew going into it that I was going to have some hot takes that I didn't think everyone was going to agree with, and I'm fine with that. I don't come at anything from a normative perspective. I don't think. So I'm always going to have uh, a different take on. Um, I know I'm always going to have kind of a different way of looking at it, and I am okay with that. But it is very validating to see that other people are willing to at least listen, to that perspective. It's honestly, it's not as common as you might think. um, Sam saying Willow didn't do magic, and not to disagree with you, friend, but there was him training Alora and the plant magic they were doing, and it was very limited. But Willow was doing it, and I think that's kind of what you're saying is that that Willow, our sorcerer, oh, that's a good point. I thought he did. Could be wrong. Yeah, he does. He does a little magic, but I think they're probably saving that for later. Would make that would make sense. Yeah, go take a look at that old episode of ours. That not old, that new episode of ours. Tell us what you think in the comments, because yeah, we've had quite a few views on it. Not like anything crazy. I think we're around 50 or something like that. But not very many comments. So let me know what you think of our work so far. I'm very proud of what we're doing. Um, Willow is my comfort media. It's one of my favorite uh, movies of all time. I have thoughts and feelings that are passionate about it. Well, I've been kind of messing with this part by the top of the bridge of the nose. I'm not like super sure where I'm going. Maybe I need to throw more paint at this. Let's see. What am I doing? Yeah, you said horn earlier. It is starting to feel like that. I don't want it to be. I don't feel like that goes with this. I want it to be very geometric. And I also don't want it to interfere with the work I've done here. That's been a point I've been trying to hit. More paint. Some more paint, huh? What? No, I know. Just what? Okay. Oh, that. Oh, okay. I was really confused about what you were talking about. I'm like super focused. Thank you. Yeah. I'm working, yeah, geometrical. That's kind of where what I'm trying to work towards here. This shape. Yeah. It's gotten close a couple of times, especially just now. Oh, the paint, the falling off. Sorry, I'm talking to Sam. Sam is very active off chat tonight. Man. Oh, whoa. Hold on. Whoa. Okay. Huh. Okay. 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 That's it. I think we found it. That's so cool. Okay. That worked out way better than I thought it would. Another one of those moments, guys. We get multiple per stream. Are you kidding me? Moments of pure, unfettered inspiration. My goodness. I'm too good to you guys. Hit my Venmo. Give me $5. No, but seriously. Give me $5. No. Feel no obligation. But I am having a goddamn time right now. That is for sure. Um, and I hope you are enjoying this as much as I am. I am having a goddamn blast. As soon as I said unfettered, I couldn't stop thinking. I have not been able to stop thinking about John Fetterman. Trying to work that joke in. It's not a joke, but I've at least got it vocalized, so it's not just living in my brain. Congratulations to John Fetterman. Thank God we don't have to fucking have Dr. Oz in any position of power more than he already has attained. In that case. Yeah. Yeah, it takes a certain specific level of derangement to think Dr. Oz is a smart person or has anything of value to offer at all, really. No offense to any of you, if that's a grift that you fell into, but yeah, like Alex Jones, it's all it is a grift, a weird, fucked up grift. Um, so fuck both of those losers. I'm glad they lose over and over again. Uh, if I saw them in public, I would demand they square up. So stay inside, you fucking coward. For him, man, I don't, I don't tend to wish harm on people that have Alex Jones and Dr. Oz, weird right wing grifters like them. I wish them nothing but pain and anguish for the rest of their mortal lives. I hope that they don't have to be here that much longer, frankly. Terrible humans. Mm. In a perfect world. Yeah, I mean, sure, yeah, absolutely. I've had family and friends, many of many of many allies of different stripes. Many of them have worked in elder care, and I can confirm. Actually, Sam was just saying as well. They've done it. That yeah, it's there's a whole um, series of social political kind of conversations that we could and should be having around how we care for the elderly in the United States. Um, yeah, it's a scary thing when you finally see the reality of it. When you're informed of the realities that these workers go through, that they're kind of forced to put their clients through in some cases. You really, I, I, I really feel for these people. Um, my dad was in hospice for a few months before he passed, and I wish I knew then what I know now. Not that I feel like he could have gotten better care, but that I feel like uh, I would have understood better the pressures that those people were up against, the kind of uh, knowledge that they would have had, the training that they would have had. I mean, it's a rough, it's rough, man. It's rough out there for those people. People who work in elder care are tough as nails, and in a lot of cases are dealing with, uh, have histories with substance abuse or issues that ultimately make them prime candidates for these kinds of jobs because they have a certain amount of empathy and understanding in ways that a lot of people who haven't been through incredible hardship and trauma really can. But at the same time, it does make them also much more suspect to exploitation by the companies that run these elder care services that undertrain their staff, underpay them. And in many cases, I mean, undertrain is that's a nice way of putting it. In many cases, there is no training. Even by the higher ups that work for the company that are supposed to be doing that, those people aren't doing. much of anything but making schedules for people. Um, many and often cases schedules that they can't even make. Uh, so I don't know. It's yeah. Sam's got a really great point. We should be having more conversations about how we treat our elders, about elder care more generally. Because yeah, it's a serious issue. Especially when you consider like some elderly folks are in positions where they don't have inherit wealth. They don't have like a pension or anything like that. So many of pensions and even 401ks and things like that that are terrible compromise for such um, have been drained and zapped. I mean, it wasn't that long ago that we had a huge recession, and in fact are potentially approaching that once again, making people's, especially elder folks, ability to have the kind of quality of life that they deserve, really making it difficult for that to be a reality for them. And yeah, it's heartbreaking to see that some people live in those under those conditions, and then some of the worst people on the planet that are elders, like Mitch McConnell and Dagnall Tramp, have incredible government health care that none of us will ever be privy to until we work in until we become representatives, elected officials, things like that. And I can tell you who does deserve it is people who actually work for a living. And I can tell you who don't deserve it, and that's fascists who don't even deserve to breathe. So, um, that's where I'm at with that. All right. Well, I tell you what, I'm gonna have to wait for most of this to dry to keep working. I think we're gonna wrap it up in about 10 here. Does it sound good to you, Sam? All right. Yeah, because I mean, I could add. Well, truth be told, I'm going to add more paint to this, probably in the next hour or so. But I need to let this sit right where it is before I start messing with it again. Yeah, let me start making little adjustments to areas that are starting to dry. I don't think the nose is quite there. We put a lot of paint on that nose. Um, Damn right it is. But I think I can get away with some of this because there's like the areas where I'm starting the like I'm going where the old paint is where the new paint is meeting the old paint. Those areas I can start kind of working in because a lot of those paint layers are very thin. Like at the bottom of the nose here. I don't think I have any paint there. There you go. Now you might actually be able to see what I'm doing. But not well, but I'm sorry. Eventually we'll have a little bit more sophisticated setup here. Oh, did anything move? Oh. Oh, I see what happened. Okay. I wasn't quite sure what I was reacting to. I just saw and heard something fall, and I was like, "What the fuck was that?" But it was my very jerry rigged kind of setup here. One of the extension cord that I use just fell off my tripod. Oh yeah, I remember now. Pardon me. She burping, alright. She burping. Can anyone still believe Tim Burton works? What a fucking hack! Just had to get that off my chest. Sorry. Yeah, he's got that Wednesday show out. Like, he sort of is. He's involved in Wednesday, the Addams Family show. What a loser. I hope him and Helena have a hard time forever. Terrible people. Turfs don't deserve my sympathy. Look at that. No, absolutely. Talented actors, or actor, incredible talent. I don't care. You know what I will never care about is talent. Because it can be bought. Technique, talent, these things are commodities and bought and sold by the wealthy and powerful, and kept out of reach of people like so yeah, they can all eat my ass. And I don't mean that in a kind way. Because I would love some people, I'll say you can eat my ass, and I mean it in a way that I love you. And then there's some people I'll say you can eat my ass, and it means I'm gonna shit in your fucking teeth. There's a big difference. I think you get it from the inflection though. Yeah, true, true. Very true. I mean, because it was a negative until people started eating ass and being open and honest about that. But now we eat ass, and it's cool, and you should eat ass. So it's hard to say that person can eat my ass unless you clarify. But I think honestly, I've talked a lot about acting and performance, and I think you can kind of mean a lot of things while saying, or you can say a lot of things without. What am I trying to say? You can convey a certain message with inflection and body language in ways that will clarify. You mean I want to eat your ass, or I hope you fucking eat shit and die. Yeah, this is subtext. This is acting 101. These are the skills that I learned to benefit humanity. Yeah. So, but yeah, I can definitely see it's a slight identity crisis for that phrase. Trying to figure out where it stands. But we'll do our best here at Nerdcrafty. Try and tell you how we feel directly. Oh yeah. Okay. Sorry about everything I just did there. Okay. I kept arting instead of telling you we're wrapping it up. But we're wrapping it up. um, because I do need to eat soon. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me, watching this mask come together. We'll do this again sometime next Tuesday at 3:30. I said sometime like it was vague, but it's very specific. We're gonna be back here at 3:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time every Tuesday, into infinity and beyond. Yeah, holy shit! Congratulations, us. We hit 50 subs tonight. We are we're getting so much closer to affiliate. Yeah, thank you, my brain. To affiliate and to making this a profitable, functional thing we're doing, and not just a passion project filled with our blood, sweat, and tears. You can find us at nerdcrafty.com. You can find all of our works collected there, as well as links to all the pertinent stuff. You can find us at Nerdcrafty Network on YouTube. Go watch our latest episodes of You Awaken in a Strange Place by Jacob Andrew, the Droppy channel, where I am the DM, playing with my friends Nick and Alexis, who decided during the pregame that we would be playing in a Western, a puzzling Western buddy comedy. And that was quite the game. I think the last 3 sessions of You Awaken in a Strange Place are some of the best role-playing gaming I've done in a really long time. I'm really proud of our work there. Everyone that joined us, I mean, it's probably too late to run everyone's hats and stuff like that, but all of those people, you can find their social medias on those videos in the info, right? Yeah. You can go check out Bailey and Scott and Nick and Alexis and Dan and Sasha's work collectively at those YouTube videos where we do You Awaken in a Strange Place. Check out our Willow Watch Ignore the Bird podcast that we are doing on YouTube now. Really proud of that work as well. And you can find us on all the social medias at Nerdcrafty or all of them at Nerdcrafty. And the most important one, please give a look to our Patreon. Think about joining. We have very low prices for your subscriptions, and you get a whole lot of really great stuff, really great bonus material if you join. We've got perks and we've got low prices. What's stopping you? Come on. Give a look to our Patreon. Think about donating to the Venmo if you want me to keep doing this project because I'm running out of supplies. And other than that, I hope you all have a lovely evening, a marvelous week, and I hope you take care of each other and yourself out there. But good night for now.